right, good morning, everyone. So I have Sierra Smith back from Sun Peak Official, and today we're going to talk about something that we've kind of been discussing off camera for a few weeks, and we're going to talk about maybe distractions or, for me, like I see pets as being a distraction when you're trying to get to a certain point in your journey. But good morning, Sarah. Welcome back.
Hey, good morning. Let's talk about distractions.
Yeah. So, do you want to kind of touch on maybe how we got to this subject or how it started for us?
Yeah, so I got a late night DM from Mark that was like, do you have a dog or do you guys have a pet? Um, but no, really, you just sent me a text message, I think one evening that was just like, do you guys have a pet? And I was like, yeah, we have a dog. Like, do consider it a distraction from your goals. And I kind of got to thinking about it, and my response in that moment was, not really, because our our dog a lot of time entertains our son, and that kind of helps me get a little more time to work on my stuff or to focus, and that's kind of his thing. So they go outside and they run around our land together, or he's the one, responsible for, feeding and just making sure his stuff's taken care of. And so it kind of gives him something more to do, and it frees up a little bit of time for me. So for me, it's almost like a little bit of a babysitter for my kid, who is almost more of a distraction than the pet. So I think that at least in our situation, the our dog is low maintenance, and we don't have to let him out because we have this land, and we're home all the time. Like, we work from home. So it's just incorporated into our life. So it's not really much of a hassle or extra thing to add on to. So that's kind of where we started with this discussion.
Yeah, I think it's nice that you have that space. So like you don't have to go walk the dog, right? You just let the dog out and it just runs around and that's its exercise for the day, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference. I mean, of course, people in Hawaii have yards, and there's some that their dogs have space to roam around, but a lot of times, people have to take their dogs out for walks and whatnot. I think that's where I see it as kind of a distraction for, your goals or maybe what you're trying to accomplish or your journey. So I have two cats that I got stuck with, and for me, I see the pets as somewhat of a distraction, or you gotta feed them and clean up their kitty litter and whatnot. So I see it as a distraction.
Just because of the extra time that you're spending on the cats, like taking care of them.
Yeah, and then it's you have to clean up. I mean, there's cat hair everywhere, and even like, so the two cats are completely different. One is very low maintenance as far as, you put its wet food in a bowl and it's gonna eat, and the other cat is a lot more picky, and it only
Yeah,
eats.
tell this story, because I feel like this is the key to why you feel this way about pets, about your picky cat here.
Well, yeah, it only eats certain foods, and it'll like smell the food when I put it in front of it, and it'll turn its head away if it doesn't like it. So it only seems to eat like the chicken flavor, like it won't eat fish or even the beef one it doesn't eat. And if I put it in a bowl or dish, it typically doesn't eat it, or the other cat comes and eats it. So it's like I have to sit on the
Oh,
floor and feed it by a spoon.
while
Like,
fending off the other cat.
yeah, yeah. So it becomes kind of a pain, and so like even like I if I go to the firehouse, I'm gone for 24 hours, so they haven't ate wet food, for maybe 24 hours. And so when I come home, they're like running into the door, waiting for me to come in the house. And as soon as I get in, I feel bad and I gotta go feed them and whatnot. So it is a distraction to me, I feel like, as far as what I'm trying to get accomplished.
Okay, so what would you do with that free time instead? What would you be accomplishing?
Well, I mean, like even like coming straight home from work. Like if
Hmm.
I had other obligations, I would go and do that. But a lot of times I feel like, okay, I gotta go straight home first and feed the cats and
Okay, right.
just check on them and whatnot. But even like trying to work out in my garage gym, I mean, I guess I could really keep them out of there, but then they're just pawing on the or whatever, scratching the door and running
They
into the
want to be
door.
with you.
Yeah, they do. So it's like, so I let them in the garage while I'm working out, and they're constantly jumping on me if I'm laying on the bench, or they're nibbling at my legs, and it's just a distraction, I guess.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm my dog is the same way. We can't work out like on the floor here and him not be just in my face. But I go to the gym and not have the I don't have the gym at home, so and it's separate in that way. Uh, so my follow-up question to you when we were talking about this before, um, after you said that, our pet's a distraction, my question was like, well, are sports a distraction? Because to me, that consumes way more time for a lot of people. And as far as just like, and I'm like, the pets, they provide like some sort of like emotional support, or they add to your life. Whereas like I feel like sports are like a pure distraction. Unless I guess if you have the community around it, which I know you guys do like some fantasy football stuff and fantasy baseball, and like that community with the other like-minded people like is helpful. So I'm like, so that kind of adds to it. But then I'm like, the time spent watching sports seems like way more than the time spent taking care of a pet.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I do not follow sports as much as I used to when I was younger, and when I was kind of oblivious to things and just going through my daily routine. Yeah, I would follow sports a lot more. So I do still play a lot of fantasy sports, but a lot of that is just to stay in contact with a lot of like high school friends, and like you're saying, we started a real estate one on Twitter, but just to keep in contact with these people to make it kind of fun. But as far as before, I would be like really researching the teams and the stats and spending a lot of time on it for not a lot of there wasn't a great return on my time. So I
Right.
definitely agree that yeah, it can take up a lot of time, and I do it more for not just to network and socialize, but as far as following up on it, yeah, I don't stay up to date too much on it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard your bench did better than your team the other day. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's how, and then so my team's up for sale. I said on for seller
yes,
finance
that's
deal.
that's the tweet I saw.
But it's fun. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of guys that we stay in contact with, but I do agree. And like, kind of going back to the pet situation, I think maybe it does um what type of pet you have, or maybe just the pet, like you're saying, it's my two cats are completely different. And one, like I said, is a lot more needy than the other one. And maybe that's where I'm influenced by that as far as having to deal with this one cat that's super picky and super needy.
Hmm. We had a dog prior to this one that was a lot more high maintenance, but we'd had her whole life, and she had a lot of anxiety towards her later years whenever we would leave the house, and that was a very difficult time because we couldn't board her, and we weren't able to do a lot of like outings or traveling, that we couldn't take her with us. So I would say that one was very that for a couple of years it was very difficult to not have her high maintenance affecting like our daily life. But yeah, this our setup now, I wouldn't say the pet is a distraction at all. And I mentioned like with my doing Rover on the side, like the pets have actually brought in income for me because have done some pet sitting, and I go feed cats that are picky, but not nearly as picky as yours. And that's had more cash flow than even my rental property. So the pets can be like an asset in some ways.
No, yeah, I agree. So if I hired you and my
Oh,
instructions were for you to sit on the floor, lay on the floor to feed one of the cats, would you do that?
would I do it? Yeah, I would. And The fending off of the other cat, I think I would be like, okay, so I'm supposed to sit on the floor and feed this one and hold off the other one. I, I think that part would be a little bit like making sure I have that right. But I know a lot of times, like when I get booked, I go over to the house and the owner will like give me a demonstration of how of all the unique quirks that their pet has so that I understand what they're saying. Because when you start describing this over text, it does sound like crazy. And then when you get there, you kind of see what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would do it if it were, if it took me longer than 30 minutes to feed this cat, though, there would be a charge, an upcharge.
Well, I think part of the problem too is because maybe the cats are just used to me feeding them. So like my
Hmm.
son's not always with me. So I think even him trying to help me, the picky cat won't eat from him normally. Like it only is gonna eat if I put the food out for it. So that makes it, he can't, he tries to help me. So
Hmm.
a lot of times he might just be holding the other cat back. So what I usually do though is I actually put the food in a bowl and the other cat would just eat. So as that one's eating, I'm feeding the other cat
Right.
sitting on the floor.
One pebble at a time.
Not well, a small. I'm actually using an old baby spoon from when my kid was.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this cat is completely dependent on you. If I mean, this cat's not gonna make it if you if you're gone.
Oh, the funny thing is, so like when we leave the house or when we enter the house, when we have the door open, that cat has no interest in running outside. It just sits on the steps. The other cat is like fighting, trying to get outside to run around. And we gotta like kick it back or not, well, not kick it, but like put our foot there
Right,
so it
right.
doesn't jump
Block it.
outside. But the other one is just like, I'm not going anywhere. You guys sit on the floor and feed me. I don't need to go any.
Yeah,
It's like it's rough out there. I'm staying
right.
here.
It's not hunting for a mouse
No,
its own food whatsoever.
nope.
No. So then what do you do when you travel? Like whenever you're going to be gone for a few days, like who feeds this cat one piece of food at a time?
Yeah. So far, I just put a lot of dry food out, but
And
yeah, it hasn't. But I mean, it survived. I come home and they're alive, so I guess it works. But
Because maybe like if you're not looking, it will feed itself.
yeah, maybe I don't. I guess what? Well, shouldn't say it, but the cat's name is Princess. It's
Oh,
the picky one.
that is so
That's I don't know.
accurate.
That was just the name that it came with.
You didn't even rename your cats.
He didn't. My son didn't want to. Well, the first cat,
Oh,
the other cat, he did. He named it Kinsey. I don't know how he got that name, but the second one he kept it Princess. Yeah.
okay. Well, my son would do something similar. He would be like, "Oh, our dog's name is Rocky." So if we got another dog, he would be like Rocky Jr. Like he would just not be creative, I think.
I thought he'd go with like Paw Patrol, like Rocky and I don't
Oh,
know,
good. Give it
Rubble
a
or
yeah,
yeah.
Rumble. That's yeah. I don't know if he would do that or not. He like if he said like if he were to get a sibling, he would basically name it Baby, and I'm like that wouldn't work. So
All right. So what would you say maybe is your distraction as far as, you know, focusing on, your goals and your dreams and your journey? Like, is there any distraction for you?
social media probably would be the biggest distraction, which is kind of a catch-22 because it it helps me network and it helps me, do a lot, get a lot farther and learn a ton of stuff. But then I definitely when I'm more fully present and I'm not thinking about social media, I'm able to make a lot more progress, like actually finishing like our renovations or like actually doing the work that is going to have more of a return um that we have going currently. So I would say that's probably my biggest distraction. But I don't do a lot of TV or sports or really extracurricular stuff. Like I'm definitely just kind of focused on my goals. So I stay pretty tuned in.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. You kind of figure out what works for you. And I'm sure whatever distractions or your free time is, a lot of it is family stuff, or like you're saying with your son, whatever his interests are, and that's become kind of your outlet to do things. And that's how I do it to my son. Whatever, like you said, I don't really watch any TV anymore. It's just pretty much whenever
It
he watches
shows.
something, yeah, I'll watch what he's watching, or even going to the park. He goes to the park or the pool with his friends, and that's I'll go with them, and
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I for sure could be like, having to, pretend play for multiple hours a day feels like a distraction to me. Like, there's only so much like pirate ship, that I'm like down to play. And so after like 30 minutes of that, I'm like, okay, I'd rather be working or doing something else. But so I mean, I spend a lot of time doing that for sure. So I don't really have time for other distractions because that's my priority. But I'm also just wired that way, to want to work a lot and to want to stay focused. Like that's just kind of that's what I enjoy. So that's where my time goes.
yeah. Do you see it as kind of like like a 5-year plan though? Like I feel like that's kind of for me, it's like, yeah, I'm doing the work now. I'm, maybe sacrificing some things now, but hopefully, in like 5 years, things are kind of, you know, almost like running on its own in a sense. I mean, yeah, you're still gonna hope, you're probably gonna be still posting stuff on social media, but it's
Hmm.
it's not as much effort, maybe. One post may attract
Yeah.
this many reactions compared to now where you post something and it's like, not as much reaction as you might hope for, but it's just part of the process.
Yeah, just that consistency so that down the road it is established and you're not having to, feel like you're chasing views or likes or anything like that to grow. I'm looking forward to being out of that like growth mode for sure and just like having something to maintain that's like really enjoyable, as far especially for the social media platforms. And then uh but as far as like the 5 year plan, I feel like I've tried to have more balance lately in, living like feeling like I'm living now and not just waiting to like live 5 years down the road. And so I'm trying to really balance like getting to do a lot of the things that I would want to do um right now, and still being really intentional about what I'm saving for and what we're planning for and stuff like that down the road. So I think I don't want to put it off. I don't want to put life off, for 5 years later. So it's been kind of a balance, but it does slow down how quickly you can reach those goals. So it's kind of a give and take, but I don't want to feel like I know from past experience, anytime we've really, strapped our finances to try to make progress, then as soon as we like, hit that goal, then it's like a spending like frenzy because we haven't ate out in forever, or we haven't bought anything in months or something like that. So I feel like having a better balance kind of just gives it more of an even path and more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it just depends too, like where you are in life. Like I can see like if you're, right out of high school or in college and you don't have a lot of responsibilities at that time, that you can just go all in and like you're saying, making a lot of sacrifices. And, even if you did make those sacrifices, you still can find ways to enjoy yourself. But right now, I think you're in the same boat as me where it's like it's not just yourself anymore. You're trying to make sure your son has these
Mhm.
experiences and family experiences. So it's kind of like you're saying, that balance of achieving these certain things you want to achieve, but at the same time not, you know, forgetting about where we're at right now and making sure, our son has these experiences and things like that. So
Yeah, this season of life is important to prioritize some of that. And I do in my mind think like, once he's out of the home or an adult, like I'll have that time to like, you know, grind on my own ventures again and not have to prioritize the family experience that we're trying to give to him right now. So I do kind of have that in mind, like just that balance and shifting of just the season of life.
yes, I seen I know we had a group chat, or kind of our first one with you, me, Hugo, Joe, Kevin. But Hugo was mentioning FinCon, his experience with it last year, and I believe that's something you're going to be going to this year. And what is your maybe expectations of going to that?
So after looking at the schedule, there's some breakout sessions that I'm really interested in learning from, like on how to get yourself booked as like a speaker and how to um, grow your YouTube channel. And there's going to be a real estate breakout session, I think, led by the Frugal Gay. And so I'm looking forward to, meeting all of the real estate people who are there, who are financial creators on social media, and just having a little bit more of a network in that realm. As far as like what I'm expecting, other than just having some really good connections by the end of it, I'm hoping to, learn a few more strategies that I'm unaware of now. And I think that it will definitely those kinds of events are always super motivating, and so I'm sure I'll have more drive when I get back from it to bust out some stuff, because right now I'm love what I do, and I'm just kind of like really getting satisfied with like I'm growing at a good pace, and I enjoy the remodeling that we're doing, and I'm enjoying the stuff that I'm creating on social media, and I have clients, and so I'm just kind of like getting kind of complacent. But so I think I'll get a little bit more motivation from that, and it'll be great to obviously meet people in person. Those connections are really important.
So you don't see it as like a distraction going to this event?
Oh, um, I don't think so. I think because it's so in line with what I do, uh, that it doesn't feel like a distraction. It feels like definitely an investment in my business. But I'm also only going for a couple days. I think if I were going for the full week, and like they have late night parties and all of the stuff, that maybe I could get a little derailed. But I picked out the classes that I wanted to be at, and kind of fine tuned my schedule around that, just to try to get the most bang for my buck. And I got a scholarship to go, so like I didn't even pay for the ticket to get to the event. So um, all in all, my return on the trip should be pretty good, hopefully.
Wait, what do you mean you got a scholarship to? What is that all about?
So if you're a creator in the financial space, in your first year of creating content, then around finances, then you could apply for a scholarship to attend the event. So I applied and got accepted. So I got a free ticket to go, and I still have to pay for my lodging,
Oh,
but yeah, I got a free ticket to attend the event, which I think was like it's like $300 to go as a regular attendee, or you can go and do like all of their networking classes and stuff for a little bit more expensive.
oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
you and Hugo should do some videos or something while you guys
I
are
know
there.
we
Or
need to meet up and plan like a recording or something in
yeah.
person.
Even Tom, the frugal gay, he's a super nice guy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. Maybe the three of us even could do something. Because I it sounds like Hugo and him had talked briefly about doing a podcast anyway.
Oh, yeah. 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 Well, I gotta go feed the cats pretty soon and figure out
I
what.
know. I mean, we just got back from a week-long road trip, and the last 3 days of the road trip, we had our first like kind of big maintenance issue on the rental property. So I was like dealing with that from afar, and it was an electrical thing where a fuse to the I don't know, a fuse to something blew, and it was causing power surging through the whole house, and we thought that it killed the HVAC system. And so it was a very tense 3 days, but luckily the weather here was nice, so it wasn't like there was an issue with them being uncomfortable temperature wise. But got an electrician out there, got it fixed. It just took a while, and so I'm just kind of like run ragged from dealing with that. But yeah, that's the joys of being a landlord.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the tenant's garage, the garage door wasn't closing and had some panels off that to fix. But they sent the pictures of it, and it was like, why are you continuing to use it when it's obvious not working right, or it's not.
Right.
And just, I don't know if they kept having it go up and down. It was just like,
Oh
what
no.
what are you doing? But yeah, it's got fixed, and like you said, it's part of the process. And
Hmm.
even if you have your own home, things break, right? So it's just, that's the way you gotta look at it. I see a lot of times is people are like, oh, what are you gonna do if the toilet breaks or what. And it's like, well, if you have your own home,
Deal
what are you
with
gonna
it.
do, right? You know, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? But at least this way, someone's paying for part of it, probably, right? The tenant's paying. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to have an electrician come out and replace the fuses was $160. And so it wasn't like it was a huge hit. Now, I was a little worried because like the first thing that had went wrong was like their washer and dryer stopped, like was throwing an error code. And then like the power was flashing in the kitchen. And then the HVAC system wouldn't even turn on. And we couldn't even get the thermostat turned on. And so I was like, oh no, we've like the power surging has caused like the appliances to um to go. And so I was a little worried that we were going to be on the hook for like a lot of appliances, but luckily everything turned back on after the fuse was replaced. So that was a little stressful, but also that's what, you have insurance for and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like people are like, "Oh, what, you have to pay for all of these anything that ever goes wrong." But I mean, anytime we rented for a long time too, and I'm like, a garage door opener, I think, was the only thing we ever had our landlord fix because the gear had snapped. And I'm just like, it's so rare because most tenants, I'm sure there are very picky ones out there, but a lot of tenants will resolve the issues themselves. And they like that feel of having the ownership over where they are, and they don't want to have to deal with, a landlord coming in and replacing a $20 part or something. So a lot of times they take care of it themselves too.
yeah, yeah. Well, oh, do you allow pets then? I just came to me. So do you allow pets for your tenants?
Sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure do. And get a little bit more rent that way. And they're, obviously happy they get to have their pet. And now we have, vinyl plank flooring in the house. So that there's not a carpet issue with the pet smell and all of that going on. And our tenants have two cats. Um, but
Do they
yeah,
want more?
I don't know. We had a one pet maximum listed, I think, on our listing. But they had these two older cats and asked for an exception, and we were happy to do that because if our tenants were going to have a dog, we were going to put in a fence. And so this way, since it was cats, I was like, oh, we're kind of getting off having to put in a fence right now. So that worked out better for us, and obviously they like having their cats. Uh I don't know if they're as picky as yours. They do tell us to, not let them out if when we go in the house to make sure they don't run out. So I guess there's, like to escape. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people would get a pet anyways, even if you didn't allow them. So that's just kind of one way for everyone to be aware of at least who and what animals are in the house. Um, so I'm pro pets when it comes to the apartments or comes to the rentals.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Sometimes though, I'm thinking of letting the cat just run outside and tell my son I couldn't find it.
Oh my gosh. So did you
But
get these cats for your son?
yeah, 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 we did. And then
Hmm.
and then we got a dog in the process, but his mom has a dog. So
Is the dog high maintenance?
uh
You don't know.
not high maintenance. Well, at first because it was like a baby, like a
Oh,
pup.
yeah.
So yeah. But now it's okay. But it's big, so he can't really walk it by
Oh,
himself.
no.
So that's part of it too. Is I mean, and he does walk it, but it's not that he can just go walk by himself because the dog's kind of pulling on him, and um,
Hmm.
they don't have this big yard, so it's kind of like you're walking it up and down the street. So and even when they take it to the dog park, it kind of goes and you know jumps on the other dogs, and so it doesn't play well, I think, at the dog park with the other dogs. So
Okay, so now I'm gonna be curious for the people who are watching. Like, I want to hear in the comments like if your pet is high maintenance and if it's a distraction because I feel like you have some interesting pet story. I don't know, pet experiences.
yeah, maybe it's because I didn't grow up with pets. So for me, it's it's just, magnified on the work
Hmm.
that goes into having a pet. And I think, you know, I look at it as a child is enough, responsibility and effort, and it's like now you're gonna throw a pet in there, and it's just something else is needing you to feed it and take care of it and whatnot. So I think for me, it's like it's a
You need like a
distraction.
property manager for your pets.
Yeah, well,
You're gonna
yeah,
outsource your pet care.
yeah, yeah. We'll, we'll see. I don't even know how long cats live. Like that's my other thing. It's like how long are these things gonna
Yeah,
be
you don't
around?
even know what kind of time investment you're in for here.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
yeah,
maybe when your son maybe he as he gets older, they'll become more his responsibility and they'll get off your plate a little bit more.
yeah. Well, he's like, oh, I want another cat. I'm like, no,
Oh,
we're not getting another one. No. But
well, if he's anything like my son, if my son got down and tried to feed a cat, he would completely scare it, terrify it in the process. Like just the getting on the floor with it, the cat would be so unsure of what is about to happen that it would run off.
yeah, that's what happens. Like the princess doesn't typically eat from when we're just trying to feed it. My son's trying to feed it. So yeah. I'll keep you folks posted if I have two cats in the next episode. Or if one runs,
The cats will be up for seller financing next.
yeah. Or if one runs away and yeah, it's like it runs away and it's not like it just goes underneath the house. So then I gotta go in underneath the
Oh
house and I'm trying to get this cat who's chasing like lizards and stuff underneath the house. And yeah, fun. Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like a distraction.
See? All right. Well, this was fun again, and we'll do it again. And I know we've been trying to talk about this for a while because you always tease me about it and make fun of me. And
The world needed to know what you were having to go through every day to feed these cats.
yeah, you want to see a picture of me feeding it on the floor or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like we could meme that.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen though. But
That needs to be, yeah, set up a photo shoot of that, and that needs to be the thumbnail for this video.
yeah, all right. Well, hopefully people comment and they can say if pets are a distraction and you know, or maybe, I don't know. We only talked about cats and dogs. I don't know if there's other real, because I don't think a fish would be much of a, I don't know,
No.
but they don't last too long. We came home, we had a fish. It didn't even make it like 2 hours.
Oh,
We got it at the school, whatever, carnival thing, and came home, went to dinner, came back, and it was, didn't make it.
no.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, not a pet person.
All right. Well, we'll do this again next week. And oh wait, are you gonna be at FinCon next? You are, yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it
I
out.
don't think I leave until I think I'll be here for one more recording. I think I'm just gone over the weekend.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, and it's always fun. So we'll do this again.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.